I have 9:02. And take the roll, please.
Good morning, Jennifer Baradka.
Here.
Michelle Drobnik.
Here.
Doug Erickson.
Here.
Robert Kopish.
Here.
Jeff Ulrich.
Here.
Larry Mivas.
Here.
Thank you. Rachel Hoffman also is excused.
All right. Okay, we'll start off with public comment. And this would be people that are not here for any of the hearings, okay? And we'll do the same thing that we did last time. Board policy is 15 minutes total, 10 on anyone's subject. So what I would propose is the people that are here to talk about the gravel pit, we'll get you up there first and you have your 10 minutes and then we'll see if anybody else wants to talk with the time remaining. So, and you'll have 3 minutes out of the 10, okay? So please come to the podium if you want to speak. State your name and address. And we'll go from there. Press the button there, the light's on. Okay, thanks, Joe.
Joseph Winger, Comfort Cove, N10149, East Solberg Lake Road. The definition and purpose of a land use committee is an advisory and a policy overseeing body. Its purpose is to manage the orderly growth of the county by regulating zoning guidelines, comprehensive planning, and balancing economic development with environmental and agricultural preservation. How does approving this permit for a gravel pit on East Solberg Lake Road and potentially opening up a landfill with unknown and untested contents in a residential area do that? Through the DNR solid waste permits in 1988 and 1993 do state that no asbestos be placed in the landfills. A list of asbestos-laden materials wasn't compiled by the EPA until 1999 in the Clean Air Act. How can a contractor in that time know what to leave out of that landfill, not knowing what to look for? With no testing requirements required by the DNR Price County zoning or ordered by as a condition of this land use permit is negligible at the very least. Building conditions building a list of conditions without giving time for committee members to review what information residents have gathered by only giving them a packet before the meeting. This act is suspicious at best. There's also no action plan to enforce any of these conditions on Janik and Sons, one of which I will seek damages on. A 6 to 6 work period with Saturdays is one big hell no. If you could not find the common sense to deny this permit. Also, it needs the Janik and Sons sole burden for the improvements on East Solberg Lake Road to make the road safe for taxpayers of the town of Worcester. This burden has been placed on my business by Price County when asked for gravel along Log Cabin Lane or assistance with tree removal that would have caused the damage or loss of a mobile home on our property. Simply put, it was my financial burden to rectify such things. If it costs the county money, the answer is always no. So why not here? Sorry, I got pneumonia. It's hard to talk. In talking to Brian Janik when this first came up, he asked me, if I had a chance to make this kind of money, would I? I was kind of shocked, but I have your answer today. Not at other people's expense. Not at the expense of their health. Joe,
you're talking to the committee, please.
Not at the expense of their health, their safety, or property value. My mother raised me better than that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead. Name and address, please.
Linda Schilling, N9462 Westview Road. I'm just going to read to you the NR, the Wisconsin Legislature, NR 503.08 on a one-time disposal landfill. This is the legislature. Okay, item number 5. I have to do this. Closing requirements. Any person who operates or maintains a one-time disposal landfill or who permits the use of property for that purpose shall close the landfill within 6 months after disposal begins in the following manner. Number A, or letter A, thus entire area previously used for disposal purposes shall be covered with at least 2 feet of compacted earth sloped adequately to allow stormwater runoff. A specific soil type may be required for the department, from the department for this 2-foot layer. Fine-grained soil shall be utilized to minimize infiltration unless this requirement is waived in writing by the department. Top slopes shall be no less than 2%. Side slopes shall be no steeper than 33%. C, the finished surface of the fill area shall be covered with a minimum of 6 inches of topsoil. Following closure of the one-time disposal landfill, the landfill shall be inspected and maintained by the owner or operator. Then we move to 503.09, item 10. This is after long-term. The owner or operator of a landfill required to provide financial responsibility in accordance with this section shall provide proof of financial responsibility for the long-term care of the landfill for 40 years. After the landfill is closed, which would have been in 1988. Any person requiring rights of ownership, possession, or ownership of a landfill approved in accordance with this section shall be submitted subject to the requirements of the plan of operation for the landfill and shall provide any required proof of financial responsibility to the department in accordance with Chapter NR 520. The previous owner shall maintain proof of financial responsibility until the person acquiring ownership, possession, or operation of the landfill obtains department approval of proof of financial responsibility. I'm just asking you to deny the cup and let the state of Wisconsin take this. It belongs to the DNR, let them deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else here for public comment on the gravel pit issue? Name and address, Mary.
Hello, Mary Kurth. I live at N9465 East Selbert Lake Road. I would like to say about the Wisconsin Act 67, where we have the burden to prove that there shouldn't be a gravel pit, and the burden of proof was proved by that there's a landfill on there. We are the ones who found the information. We dug it up. Now everybody on the board knows there is. They don't know what's inside of that. They don't know how much lead, asbestos, or whatever's in there. And if you give them the permission to do it, it's on a responsibility is on your heads. And I would like to say, when you guys do vote on it, I would like there to be a roll call and that the person states how they vote so that everybody knows if you're for it, we want to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Anybody else on this topic? Anybody else on the gravel pit topic? Okay, then we will open up for the rest of the time for anybody else in public comment. Anybody else want to speak in public comment on anything? What was that? Oh, yeah, online. Okay. Anybody online? *6. Anybody online? *6. Okay, there being none, we will close public comment. Any communications? Anybody? No? Okay, then we'll move on. So first public hearing is a special exception permit by Mary Jo Schwartz for the purpose of building a home 3 feet to the south line on property located within the part of northwest quarter, northeast quarter, and northeast quarter of northwest quarter, section 26, township 37N, range W, 1W, town of Elk at N8033 East Wilson Flowage Road. that public hearing is now open. Anybody wish to speak at this public hearing?
I'll read who the letters of notification went out to.
Okay.
They were sent to Kale and Andrea Bushman, Fred and Noreen Pfeiffer, Life Estate, Nancy Polivka, Reinhardt and Lynn Shilly, Robert Pfeiffer, Scott and Sherry Suko, Timothy and Mills and Donna Mills Revocable Trust, Mary Jo Schwartz, David Stade, Carol Frankowski, Patrick Jenkins, Richard Pfeiffer, Ronald Pfeiffer, Cheryl Willman, Donald Hayda, Mary Kay Landgraf, Paul and Lori Rasmussen, Richard and Patricia Smith Joint Tenancy Trust, Ryan and Deborah Ermansky, Timothy and Lori Prochnow, and Regina Damjanovic with the Town of Elk.
We didn't receive
Didn't
any
get anything?
correspondence back on this, no.
Okay, is there anybody online that wishes to speak? Star six? Anybody online? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and move on to item 2, which is the decision on this special exception permit. Evan, you want to lead us off?
Sure. You got the special exception request in your packet. If you look through, you can see the existing structure is pretty much on the lot line currently. They don't have an existing survey, but they're going to get a survey done before they start building. They're proposing to be 3 feet off the lot line.
Okay, committee? Comments, discussion?
I would say that we're bringing it more into compliance by letting them go back the 3 feet versus leaving the house on the.
Yeah, this
property
is
line.
similar to that other one that we had, that they were on the lot line.
It was just like the one up on Pike or Round Lake.
Better getting it off the lot line
Yeah.
than, not, right?
So I
Okay.
will make a motion to approve it.
Okay, there's a motion to approve by Mr. Ulrich. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Erickson, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's approved. Okay, the next item is another public hearing. This is for a special exception permit by Leanne Friedrich for the purpose of initially placing a camper with the intent of building a future home 5 feet to the east lot line and 30 feet to the center line of Nahiba Road, on property located within Government Lot 1, Section 17, Township 40 North, Range 1 West, Town of Lake, on Nahiba Road. Hearing is now open. Do you want to read off your stuff?
Letters of notification were sent to Beth Schwartzhuber, Diane Schwartzhuber, Hollis Kosi, Jody White, Joseph Hall, Richard and Faith Carpus, Leanne Frederick, Daniel Garvey and Suzanne Garvey, Living Trust, Donald Hall, Jake Furtek, John Weinberger, Nancy Gothlich, Stephen and Beth, Bernice Blazer, David Sella, Earl and Barbara Schwartzhuber, Life Estate, James Hall, John Hall, Pamela Rose Frederick, Travis Pido and Cassie Pido Trust, and Angela Sales with the Town of Lake.
I will go through the letters we received back one at a time.
Okay,
First one states, no to special exception permit, signed Nancy Gottlich. Next one states, the road is very narrow the way it is, 63-foot setback should be maintained. I would not want a house built that close to me. I don't like any street parking. This is a bad precedent. Signed. I can't read that signature at all. It's just a scribble. Next one states, she was sold the property as unbuildable. Now by encroaching on a neighbor, she asked to build. Houses too close together can create a fire hazard. Houses too close to the road would be an eyesore to the area. Signed Earl Schwartz.
Huber.
Huber.
Schwartzhuber.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next one states protest, lot should be 63 feet from the center line for a permanent structure normally, too small of a lot for a permanent structure, signed Jody White. Next one is just a returned letter, signed Beth Schwartz Huber, doesn't have any comment at all on it. The next one states, as the owner, John C. Weidenberger of the eastern adjoining property directly affected by the special permit request application submitted by Leanne Frederick on May 8th, 2026, I respectfully protest this application for the following reasons. One, the 5-foot setback variance request from the lot line of adjoining property should remain at the current zoning ordinance of a 10-foot setback for a dwelling. As anticipated, adherence to this ordinance was a key factor in the initial purchase, construction, and plot design of my existing dwelling/property. This will also maintain the current character and value of both properties and the future character of the properties. Maintaining the 10-foot setback ordinance allows me to utilize my space for future privacy, landscaping, and or construction consistent with the existing zoning ordinance character and value of my property. 2, the 30 to 33-foot setback from the center of Nahiba Road request should remain consistent with existing setbacks of adjoining and neighboring properties. Those neighboring properties who receive the June 1st, 2026 notification letter from Price County Zoning Administrator's Office for the following reasons. This will maintain the character and curb appeal of the adjoining properties and the neighboring properties. This will continue to provide ongoing public safety. This will maintain, appreciate current market value of adjoining and neighboring properties. This will maintain and appreciate resale value for adjoining and neighboring properties. This will maintain the current unobstructed view and curb appeal of Nahiba Road traveling from west to east on Nahiba Road for all residents and visitors traveling Nahiba Road. This could prevent setting a precedent where the precedent would have unintended or unanticipated consequences with future requests. Thank you for your careful and thoughtful consideration of my comments and protests regarding the special exception permit application. Respectfully submitted, John C. Weinberger. Next letter. I think the 63-foot setback from Nahiba Road should be maintained. Building a home with less than 10-foot setback would not maintain the character and value of the area. It is my opinion that this dwelling would deteriorate the value of neighboring properties. It would set a precedent that is unwelcome. This one is signed Barb Schwartzhuber. The next one. On a well-known unbuildable piece of property, we feel giving her the permission to put a camper on the property seasonally so she could enjoy her land would be fine and hopefully helpful to her. Using the 9 to 10-foot variance given to John Weinberger to give her room if needed, but still keep his request for the full 10-foot lot line to the property. We think taking a small unbuildable piece of land and abusing the setback rules to build a permanent structure some 30 feet out would be wrong for the safety function and aesthetics of Nahiba Road. The road is small and has had issues with traffic, parking, and snow plowing problems. The town of Lake has cut back on our property and other neighbors' property to make room for the town to do their work. Putting a permanent structure that far onto the road right of way, we would think would just create more problems for Nahiba Road. Thank you for listening to our concerns. Signed, Faith and Richard Carpus. The next one, I'm writing this email in opposition to the request for the setback changes on Nahiba Road. I feel that this would set a negative precedence for properties along Butternut Lake. One of the best things about Nahiba Road is its natural beauty. When I turn right off Nahiba Road on Highway B, I drive by a greenhouse that is just feet from the road, and I think how awful it looks. I assume they must have built it in the 50s or 60s before laws were put in place. These laws were then put in place for a reason. She stated that the lot was deemed unbuildable. She should have investigated this before she purchased the property. Nahiba Road is very narrow the way it is. 30 feet from the center line would be too close to the road. We need to be careful when leaving our property due to the hill in the road to the east. We had no issue when she said she was putting in a driveway. That made things safer. Traffic is already an issue with there being cars parked on the road when she would have visitors. Before her driveway was put in, she parked on the edge of the road, making it a one-way road. This was a hazard every time we came and went. I even offered for her to temporary park on my side of the driveway to prevent an accident. If she would have company, that would make for a dangerous situation. Signed, Beth Blazer. The next one states, my name is James Hall, and I represent the Hall boys, James, Joseph, Donald, and John, owners of cabins and land at N16036 Nahiba Road. We would like to formally submit the following concerns regarding this request. Aesthetics, given the size of the buildable area, We believe a dwelling in this location may not be aesthetically pleasing and could negatively impact the visual character of Nahiba Road. Precedent, we are concerned that approving this request could set a precedent for future special exception permits on Nahiba Road, including the lot adjacent to the south side of our property. Property value, there's a concern that approving this request could lower the overall property values of Nahiba Road, including our own. Without further details regarding the specific type and placement of the dwelling, we respectfully request that the committee deny the permit application request at this time. Thank you for your time and consideration, considering our concerns. Please contact me if you have any questions or require further information. Signed, James Hall. Next one, I, Daniel Garvey, am opposed to the application as I own the lot directly across the street from the property in question and want to ensure we continue to respect the current zoning ordinances. If approved, this would set a precedent that could influence future builds, which would in turn change the landscape of our beautiful community for the worse, in my opinion. Thank you for your consideration, Daniel Garvey. Next one, the Town of Lake Board of Supervisors objects to a setback requirement of 30 feet to the center line. The town has a right of way 33 feet and states that this request is a safety hazard for snow and road maintenance as well as visibility for traffic. Further information from the Town of Lake. The town of Lake did approve a driveway access permit, but was not aware of the possibility of a structure or setback exception request. The Town of Lake Board of Supervisors met on June 15th, 2026 for the sole purpose of a review of the special exception application and forwards the following objection. And it's the same sentence. I can read it again. The Town of Lake Board of Supervisors objects to a variance setback requirement of 30 feet to the center line of Nahiba Road. The Town of Lake has a right of way of 33 feet and states that the request is a safety hazard for snow removal and road maintenance as well as visibility for traffic. And that's all of them.
Okay, is there anybody here that wishes to speak on this item? Go ahead, name and address, please.
Please excuse me if I'm a little emotional. My name is Holly Kochi. Originally,
Take your time.
I don't want to run out of time.
Want some water?
No, I'm
Okay,
okay.
all right.
Okay. I'm originally a Gottlich from Butternut. Okay, I'm speaking. Okay, stop. I'm speaking on behalf of Leanne. She is our niece. Okay, I'm just going to read. I'm speaking in support of the variance requested by my niece, Leanne, for the purpose of constructing a building on the lot of our family for over 50 years. And we probably owned it longer than that. I just don't have the records of how long my father owned it before he passed it down to us. And a little history, I am a Gottlich. My sister, Pam, is all we have left. There was 6 of us kids. We have lost 4 of them. My dad passed the property on to me and my sister, and my sister-in-law. We have sold the property to Leanne. So just a little history. We wanted to keep it in family. We didn't want to get anybody outside involved. This property has remained in continuous family ownership for more than half a century, passed down through family and now to Leanne. Throughout the entire time that we own this property, our family has respected the surrounding neighborhood and the rights of the adjacent property owners. We have consistently paid taxes, maintained ownership, and never attempted to interfere or object to improvements, maintenance, or varying requests made by neighboring property owners. We have supported the right of others in our community to improve and enjoy their properties without opposing from us. The current owner has already taken steps to improve the conditions by adding a driveway. Before this, we would have to park on the road because the town initially hired the lake. So if any of us wanted to use that lake property, there was nowhere to us to park. We had to park on the road. She has improved that by already providing a driveway for her to park. Helping to restore the property and enhance its appearance If anybody ever seen it, which I know the neighbors have, it was kind of a swamp hole with a lot of brush and everything growing up. It was not attractive to drive by. Leanne has the intent is simple and reasonable to place a small dwelling on the property so she can be responsibly use and maintain the land. She enjoys the outdoors, lakes, and fishing, and it was an honor to be able to give it to her, to be able to enjoy it for the family. She wants to utilize the property in a way that it keeps cared for rather than vacant and underutilized. We understand the concerns that have been raised regarding the property values and traffic. However, the request is for a single residence, owned land in existing residential area. It is not a commercial development or an outside investment that we allowed to come in. It is a continuation of a long-term family ownership and responsible use of the property. The property maintained residence on this lot will not detract from the community. In fact, active use and upkeep will contribute to the overall care and stability of the neighbors.
Alice,
Yes.
you've used your time, so
Thank you,
I think we hear
Board,
what you
for
had to say.
listening to me.
Thank you, thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak on this?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How much time do we have left total on the 15?
I'll be quick.
Okay, all right. Just name and address.
My name is David Sella, that's Cella, and I do live across the street from Leanne, and my address there is N16067 Nahiba Road. Been there for every bit of 45 years. It was my mom and dad's place before, everybody passed away. But anyhow, I don't know. I'm the type of guy, I went over there when I seen how good of a job and cleaning up that place over there. I mean, the weeds were this high and trees falling down in the whole 9 yards. But I welcomed Leanne to the neighborhood, thinking the way. I don't think it's up to me, but I say she should be allowed to put up a trailer or a small dwelling there. I don't see nothing wrong with it myself. And when it comes to parking, when people have get-togethers on the Nahiba Road there, they're on the street parking. Loss of value on my home, I don't feel there's going to be a loss of any value at all on my home. But who could say what's going to happen in the future? But yeah, besides that, I welcome her to be part of the neighborhood. And that's the reason why I moved from Illinois. To be peaceful.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. Anybody else? Sir? Name and address?
Yes, John C. Weinberger, N16044 Nahiba Road. And I had sent an additional addendum, Evan, yesterday. Should I read that now? Okay. In addition to the letter that was already read into the record, I also submit this. A Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources wetland delineation study with a plot map that addresses the feasibility of a septic system or a holding tank and a drilled well system be included in the special exception permit request, file number 26-167-026 application. This concern is due to the low-lying nature of the previously mentioned property and its susceptibility to potentially flooding the watershed area and potentially contaminating the wetland area located in the southwest section of the property, as well as the potential of contaminating Butternut Lake. So that's my only additional comment that I'd like to have read in.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody online that wishes to speak? Oh, you want to speak yet? Okay, sorry. Name and address.
Morning, members of the Price County Land Use and Extension Committee.
Name?
My
and-
name is Leanne Frederick, and I am the owner of tax ID parcel 14035 located on Nahiba Road.
Thank you.
I want to thank my neighbors for taking the time to submit their feedback. I have read every concern and I have adjusted my request this morning to directly address them. To provide some context, I proactively spoke with Price County Zoning before buying this parcel to confirm the options for this property, to know there was a possibility to reasonably utilize the uniquely sized lot. Since taking ownership, I have significantly cleaned up the property and have received multiple positive comments from neighbors on how nice it looks. Once purchased, I obtained an official boundary survey, then had zoning out for a site visit to discuss the plans and requested the 20-foot wide driveway. To my neighbors who expressed concerns over privacy, fire safety, and property values regarding a reduced setback, I have heard you and I am withdrawing that request. I will respect the standard 10-foot side lot line setback. No structure will be built encroaching on your boundaries, fully maintaining the aesthetics of the neighborhood. Dwellings designed to meet shoreland standards naturally protect and stabilize area property values, and I am committed to building a quality, well-maintained structure. I have already installed a quality dock on the shoreline and have received several compliments from neighbors on how nice it looks. Regarding the Heber Road and traffic, I acknowledge that this is a narrow road. My neighbors noted that roadside parking created a hazard, and I agree that roadside parking should be limited. This is exactly why I built a 20-foot wide driveway. Vehicles, including the initial camper and visitors, can be parked within my property lines, keeping the Heber Road clear, open, and safe. Finally, regarding the 63-foot center line setback, and adhering to it strictly alongside 75-foot lake setback leaves no realistic buildable footprint. The ordinance includes a special exception process for this exact reason, to ensure unique lots are not rendered unusable. Because I have compromised on the side boundaries, I am requesting a 35-foot setback from the center line for a future permanent dwelling. This allows for a buffer between the town's 33-foot right-of-way and the buildable area. As a property owner here, I want to preserve the character of this neighborhood. By transitioning from an initial seasonal camper to a beautiful, small-scale, low-impact, permanent tiny home or cabin, I am looking to improve this lot, not devalue it. I am choosing to follow the rules by asking for permission rather than forgiveness. I kindly ask for your approval of this modified special exception request. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Sir?
And Bob, is that 10 minutes total or
No,
15?
we're off of,
Okay,
I was
that's
off on
fine.
a different tangent. He corrected me, so.
Sounds
we're
good.
good. He's my monitor.
I'll be brief.
Yeah, name and address, sir.
My name is Joe Hall. Our cabin's at N16036 Nahiba Road, just down the road from the
Yep.
proposed development. Evan has already read the comments from my older brother. I'm here representing him and my other two brothers. Yeah, we're opposed to this. We acknowledge that she has enhanced the lot and all that, but we feel that, especially with our placing a dwelling that close to the road would not be aesthetically pleasing and also be a safety hazard. And our biggest concern is precedent. We have a lot to the south of us and to the north of us, and in the same situation, it's narrow lots, almost unbuildable. And we feel it would set not a very good precedent to allow this, because it would open the others up. So that's our concern.
And somebody else wanted to speak? No? Okay, anybody online? *6? I don't think there's anybody left. Huh? Okay, nobody online, *6? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and we'll take up this issue. I think the two issues that I saw in this were both the road setback and the side setback. And I'm glad Ms. Fidricks decided not to go with the side setback, because I think we'd have to keep the 10 feet. I don't think we could waive that. We don't have the extenuating circumstances like we had a couple of these other properties that were on the property line. But generally, from my perspective, if the town goes with it, I go with it. If the town doesn't want to do it, then I usually agree with the town. So since that may be the only issue is the setback from the road, from the town's perspective, and I know the town chair is here, is there some compromise here? Or do we just have to reject it as submitted? I mean, is there something else we could do from the road?
I do have a question.
The original application was for 33 or 30 feet.
And now she's
She's
35.
35, which would put it outside of the right of way from my understanding, but
And what did the town act on? Did they act on 30 or 30?
they acted on 30. So their comment,
Does that change make a difference? Mr. Chair,
that's,
can I ask you that, Larry?
35 feet would be fine.
Oh, okay, so you have no problem with 35. You just didn't want the 30. Okay.
And my question is, are there other residents that are
so the
closer to the road than this?
The house just to the east, acquired a special exception to build, back in 2011.
And that is to the roadway?
So that one, the request was 53 feet in 2011. I don't know that that is actually the setback. If I actually go out there and measure to verify that it was built at 53 feet to the center line, that was what the request was.
Yeah,
That
so
was prior to my time here.
I
but-
brought up the map and I drew general lines like Evan just stated. He'd have to go out there and walk it because if you look at the aerials versus where some of the lines is. So for example, here, it shows the water line here, but you can see there may be a pretty good discrepancy along for where the water line is. As for the center road, same thing. I just drew a line, so it's a little easier to see if I take the aerial photos off. As Evan was talking, this was the house to the east he just mentioned. I drew lines from each of the closest peaks to what is the GIS center line, and it lines up with the road as best possible, and it looks like it's approximately 40 feet. I know, again, as Evan stated, he'd have to walk it to double check because pictures do not line up perfectly with lot lines, vice versa. So I did measure it out. So to your question, there are already individuals that did get a variance in that neighborhood to be closer to the.
It wasn't for the same level, but they did get a special exception at the time.
Correct.
Yeah.
I also have a question directed to the chairman. Do we know if this is a 3-rod road or a 2-rod road?
Our setbacks are based on a 4-rod,
Okay.
4 rod.
but
Do we know if this is a 4-rod road?
66 feet.
Yeah,
That's 4.
rods.
Okay.
that's what our setback, that's what the 33 feet is based off of.
Yeah, if it's stated elsewhere, would not be.
Right,
If anybody else has it stated, so.
right.
Okay. All right. So basic,
One of the concerns was parking. This is similar to a special or a conditional use permit where you can put conditions on special exception requests. Parking was one concern. I don't know if we want to try and address that
we
concern and
generally
require
try to do off-road
on,
parking.
yeah, on-site parking,
On-site
or you
parking.
leave it up to the town, and if it seems to be a concern that parking on this road is an issue because of the narrowness of the road, the town could put up no parking signs along this section of the Heber Road, if that's, but that, I don't want to put that burden on the town without them wanting to do that. It'd have to be a request, but that seems to be a general comment here, is on-street parking is an issue within this area, it sounds.
It almost seems though now there is a driveway, so that was a problem that hopefully that will.
And I
not
don't
be a
know if that
anymore.
problem is solely being created by this property, if it's all the properties along the road that are creating this problem.
Do you want to clarify too that when it's on-site parking, it's meant for overnight and not necessarily? I mean, to clarify, if you guys do clarify, make sure is it all the time or is it just overnight? Is it, if you had 4 people out there and someone parked on the road, could they during the day?
Right, yeah, that's up to the committee again, but I just brought that up because that seemed to be a common theme in the letters. Or if we just leave it up to the town if they want to address it, but.
What's your pleasure? I would say road parking would be somewhat of an issue. I'm not sure what the shoulders are like, but on most of the town roads, any kind of parking on the town roads would be a problem. And we're looking at the town chair in the back row there. That's why we're looking over there. There isn't no shoulder. That's the problem. Yeah, so they'd be mostly on the road. Yeah, I would say we should go with off-road parking.
Could we make that just overnight though? I like that idea. I mean, during the day, at night makes sense, so you can't see.
Well, it's going to be a problem anytime
Anytime.
because the road is windy, it comes to a curve and it's narrow and, yeah, it can be a problem anytime, but you do get temporary parking during daylight hours in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for short term would be probably not as much of an issue, but the overnight would definitely be an issue. What would you suggest?
I would suggest if we're going to eliminate parking, that would be overnight.
Overnight?
That'd be.
Yeah, I would probably.
Everybody agree with
I don't,
that?
I don't want to get a call if a vehicle's parked there for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But understanding, I mean, the road's not narrower at her residence or her land. Like this is the whole road issue, correct?
it's on the one, there's one road that goes in there to all these properties. that are-
Right.
Yeah.
So technically though speaking, this isn't just her issue, it's the entire road.
It's the entire road. Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
So, I mean.
Why are
both-
we putting that condition on just
Well,
our property?
I guess the way you'd view that is this is a unique request and the road is, there's not going to be much of a driveway between the house and the road. Like other properties, the one to the north or to the east potentially is a problem because the driveway is narrow because of the special exception. But the other residents on the south side of the road, they have plenty of driveway to provide on-site parking. So it's never going to be a problem with the ones to the south.
To the south, right.
Like and we don't want to create a problem by approving this special exception because it almost would require on-street parking by approving this because it'd be super narrow there. That's just my thought, I guess. Right, and there is a driveway there, so she does have on-site parking. But this would just alleviate some of those concerns.
So we're good. The restriction would be no overnight parking on the road, right?
If that's the committee's pleasure.
For everybody on that road.
Well, we're just dealing with.
We're just dealing with this
with this
property.
issue,
We
so-
can't, that'd be up to the town to address that if they wanted to do no on-street parking, if it is a problem in the neighborhood. We can only address the applicant's property to try and alleviate the concerns of the neighborhood, not the entire neighborhood.
So are we putting that condition on? Committee?
I would be opposed to that. I don't think that that's fair.
Okay. Anybody else?
I guess my opinion would be if this is an issue, then maybe the town has to widen the road. This is a town road.
I suppose they could post it too with no parking.
Post it no parking.
Or
Post it
post
with
it
no
no
parking.
parking. I mean, that would be the town's
Town's issue.
issue, not this committee's issue too.
Okay, let's leave it. Let's leave it.
Evan, was there a theme? Is it because of snow plowing or is it just general?
General
Getting-
safety was what
Okay,
I,
just
that's what the letter
to
said.
clarify, because that could be a condition is in the winter, no.
Okay. What I'm hearing is we're gonna not go anywhere with that, and so we're back to the initial request, and it's got a 35-foot setback as amended, is that correct? From the
Yeah.
road?
I would make a motion to approve that with the 35-foot setback.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no?
Aye. No, I oppose.
Okay. You want to do a roll call? No? Yes, no? No? Okay, let it be.
So the two I've got is 35-foot setback, and then I am putting in the conditions that the side yard setbacks need to be maintained at
10
10 feet
feet.
with a dwelling, 5 feet with an accessory structure, just like every other
Just like
property
every
within
other
that
one.
zoning
Yep.
district. Okay.
Yep, just as we got in the ordinance, right?
And I apologize, Bob. Who did oppose?
Me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we did a roll call, so it just passes.
noted. It doesn't
Okay.
know who did it.
All right, next item is item 5, and this is consideration of a reclamation plan filed by Granberg Brothers, Inc. for a gravel pit located within the northeast quarter, southwest quarter, section 4, township 35 north, range 1 east, town of Prentice, US Highway 8. So I will open that public hearing.
Letters of notification were sent to Aaron Hetler Plyer, John and Teresa Westberg, Marlon and Grace Brubaker, Norman Granberg, James Peterson Sons Incorporated, Leslie Listel Radke, Pauline Zielke, Jean Huizenga, Mark Miller, Richard and Angela Fairchild, and Amy Esterholm with the town of Prentice.
This one did not receive any correspondence either.
Okay, no correspondence. Is there anyone here to speak to this item in the public hearing? Anybody online, *6, want to speak to this? *6. Okay, I will close the public hearing and we'll go on to the decision on the reclamation plan. So what do you have, Evan?
So this one's just the reclamation plan. There was actually a conditional use permit approved in 2002. 2000. There was a conditional use permit approved in 2000 for this site as a gravel pit by Olenix. So the site has a conditional use permit on file. This is just the rec plan that we are approving. It meets, NR 135.
You can go ahead and approve it then.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
If-
Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Mr. Ulrich, is there a second?
I'll
Ms.
second.
Grubnik, thank you. Any discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Reclamation plan.
Abstain
Okay,
on this one.
there's one abstention. Note that, please. All right, it's approved. But the next public hearing is on a special exception permit filed by Troy Anderson for the purpose of building a shed 54 feet to the center line of Bromstead Road on property located within the part of Government Lot 3, Section 35, Township 40 North, Range 3 East, Town of Fifield. Address is N14710 Bromstead Road. The public hearing is now open. Is there anybody here that wishes to speak to this?
Letters of notification were sent to Brian and Ann Thate, Kevin Thate, Michael and Teresa Switelick, Ryan Plouts, Trenton Leaders, Anderson Living Trust, James and Margaret Karpinen, Lori Luke, Richard and Don Plouts, Stephen Thate, John Desiree Gutwin Frost, Margaret Lavina Trust, Robert and Diane Becker, Thomas and Carol Birchall, and Angela Richardson with the town of Fifield.
No
Nothing?
comments back on
Okay.
this one.
Again, anybody here? Nope. Anybody online? *6. Anybody online? Okay, there being none, we'll close the public hearing and go ahead with the decision on this. What is your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve.
There a second?
Second.
That was Mr. Ulrich? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? All right, and we'll go to the public hearing on, for a conditional use permit filed by Pete Schuler for the purpose of operating a small-scale appointment-based dog boarding and retreat facility on property located within the part of Government Lot 5, Section 4, Township 40 North, Range 1 West of the Town of Lake at W8854 Schnur Lane. Public hearing is now open.
Letters of notification were sent to Glenn and Melissa Schruby, Jerome Peterson Revocable Living Trust, Peter and Natalie Schuler, Bonnie Mae Anderson Bogmill Trust, care of Johnson Bank, Paul and Joanne Schreiner, Jenny Bogomil Britt, Howard and Mary Luthmers, and Angela Sales with the town of Lake.
We received a couple letters back on this. First one, I am against the retreat due to barking. It really echoes on the lake and will disintegrate the peaceful atmosphere. My husband agrees with me. Signed, Mary and Howard Luthmers. The next one states, Paul and John Schreiner want to protest a boarding facility on W 8854 lot. We own the next lot to W 8854 and the lot is only 50 feet. We have owned for over 40 years, has been in the Schreiner family since 1937. This would destroy our value. Thank you. Please don't allow. And that's it.
Okay, is there anybody here that wishes to speak?
Board Commission, can you hear me okay?
Sir, we'll get to you in a minute.
Okay,
We're
thank you.
still dealing with people in the room. I'll give you a chance here in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, sir, go ahead. State your name and your address.
I'm Paul Schreiner, and my cabin is W 8844 Schnorr Lane. And like I said, we've been there for the Schreiner family for since 1937. And to me, because of they want a boarding place and a different kind of facility as far as a boarding house and that, and I feel that this will degrade our entire place and also the noise and also the as far as the traffic coming down Schnorr Lane is only you can get a one car. It's actually a lane, and I feel that it's just not right, and it would cause a lot of problems. And that's all I've got.
Thank you, sir. Sir, online, *6.
Yes, hi, my name's Thomas.
And
Britt.
your
I'm
name,
representing-
address, please?
Yes, I'm representing the owner of the adjacent parcel W 8862 Schnorr Lane, Jenny Bogomil Britt, at 6426 Houston Drive, Amarillo, Texas 79109. We've had the adjacent property in our family for at least 3 generations, based on some surveys I found from my late grandfather, George Bogomil's items. And I don't know if what I'm going to comment on has been talked about at the Town of Lake meeting level, but some things I looked at after we got public notice and at the application materials relate to, I was curious if this proposed use is a pivot from the use of short-term rental Airbnb style facility for the past decade or so, I believe. I didn't know if it was a concurrent use or not. If it is the switch to it, then all my comments are related to that from now on. I noticed on packet page 40 that there was a number of dogs available that would be boarded for the day. I didn't see a client number. I was just curious regarding traffic concerns that have been related to your committee just now. I don't know what the client number is, and therefore I don't really have a vehicle count I can base my comments off of. And so I'd like to see that in the application before it's forwarded to at the county level. Additionally, I'm curious about the monthly versus seasonal use. I see that the time frame for it from, I believe, 8 a.m. to, was it the proposal? Anyway, it's a mornings, afternoon time use, but I was curious about seasonal use, if it's going to be mostly peak hours in the summer, spring, those kind of conditions. And it seems like this would promote more community traffic rather than regional traffic, considering I'm commenting for someone from Texas that used an Airbnb in Wisconsin. But I do have some concerns related to the traffic, and I want more explicit detail about, is this replacing the Airbnb, and also the number of clients per day noted on this. Now, as I've said before, if this was already taken care of in town of Lake Meetings. I'm responding to the public notice that was given to my mother. So thank you for your time today.
Sir, before you go, I make sure we have your correct name and everything. I didn't quite understand what your last name was. Could you just repeat that and maybe spell it?
Yes, sir. So Thomas Britt, B-R-I-T-T.
Okay,
I'm the son of,
okay, you're a Brit here. Okay, I see a Brit on the, okay, gotcha. All right.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Commenting for Jenny Bogomil Britt. For the clerk that read the name, thank you for getting it right the first time, because that's hard to do. So, but that's all my comments I have on behalf of her for now.
Okay. Now, does everybody understand what we heard? I understand you've got concerns over this, sir, right? Is that what I
Yes,
got out?
just more of a detail related.
Yeah,
item.
okay, all right. Okay, all right. And you own one, you have one of those properties right alongside there?
Yes, sir. So I think on packet page, let's see, 47, it looks like the parcel we have is north of it. We're actually west of it. I think that's just an orientation
Yeah,
thing on the
okay.
page.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
So related, yeah, just on the other side of it, I think it was Schneider's that commented. Sorry if I got your name wrong. It's just
Oh,
Jenny
no.
Bogomil Britt and Bonnie Mae Anderson Trust
Okay.
to the other side, west of
Yep.
it.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else online? Star six? There being none, I'll close the public hearing and now we can discuss.
I'm confused.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. Come on up. Pointing that out.
I'm Joanne Schreiner, Paul Schreiner's wife. We've owned that place for ourselves for 40 years, and it was in the family, Schreiner's family. But you know, it's so peaceful. People want to go up to that cabin because they want to have peace and quiet, and just it's so relaxing there and that. But if you have a dog kennel, they're going to probably put a fence around so the dogs can run around, all of that stuff, and that's just not the way it should be there. I mean, that's just takes the whole property. Nobody's going to want it because of the noise. Dogs make a lot of noise, and they're going to have that in there. I just think it's disrespectful for the whole cabin area there, and we loved it there, and I just can't imagine that. I just can't imagine that. I just want to say thank you for the attention that you give me for that.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll close the public hearing. Okay. Conditions. Should we go there, committee, or should we look at conditions?
Other than the conditional use permit in front of us, are there any other license that they need to have for bringing animals?
I think there'd be something through DATCAP or DSPF, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there is a thing included with that. It's
Yeah,
got
I've
proposed conditional uses, but we'd have to do the same thing we're doing on that other conditional use permit.
Yeah, I know
we're getting out of order. There was one more individual online that had raised their hand. Do you want to give them their opportunity to speak?
Why don't you find out who it is?
So it just says caller number 9. There's an individual online that raised their hand. If you want to hit star 6 and let us know who you are.
Hi, this is Jenny Bogomil Britt, and I'm the owner of the cabin that's next door to the proposed kennel and stuff. And so I just wanted to mainly say that our concerns are traffic and noise, which has been addressed or, has been, talked about. So I just want to throw my 2 cents in there. Our family's owned that cabin for 60 years. And, we go up there once a year for peace and quiet and the serenity and all that stuff. But, I don't know that there's anything that really can be done about that except to not let them do it. And I'm not necessarily in that camp either. I just don't know how that's going to be, monitored. Like, so they say this goes through and they have dogs that bark a lot and who's gonna monitor this? So and how do the people on that street that is now much busier gonna be able to have any recourse? You know what I mean? Like, who's gonna monitor how loud the dogs are being, or I guess.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So you don't have anybody else on?
No, that they just raise their hand right at the when you're
Oh, okay,
closing.
all right.
it.
Well, I mean, I don't live far from there, I'm familiar with the area, and it's a dead end. It's a dead end road. Whatever cabins are there, you come in from the one side, it's a dead end road. There's 5 or 6 properties there, and it's on the south end of Schnur Lake. So the quiet and all that kind of stuff people are talking about, that's what you got. Basically don't have any traffic. Dogs bark. Okay, we have county ordinance for dogs. If you've got a barking dog, you can call the sheriff's department and whatever, and it gets taken care of. It's a lot similar to conditional use permits for short-term rentals. In that case, we have to allow, and if there's problems, then we can enforce. I don't know if that's what we want to talk about here, but I understand the concern. So committee, I don't know where you want to go with this.
It's not an ideal location.
This
for-
is not an ideal location, no.
No, it's not. And I realize that it says a limited number of 3 to 4 dogs, limited hours from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and overnight occasionally.
I mean, I guess if there is a noise issue, it's the sheriff's department.
I
to enforce it.
anticipate our sheriff department to spend a little quality time out there.
And I mean, not that.
With the condition, if you want those numbers that are in the application, you'll need to list those as conditions. The 3 to, they're proposing 3 to 4 dogs at a time. If that's the numbers that you'd like to stick to and want that enforceable, you'd have to put that. It moves to the approval point. One condition that I can think of that might try and mitigate some of the concerns is there'd have to be somebody on site at all times. So they couldn't have a boarding facility, then the person in charge leaves. That might lead to problems, but.
Do they have to apply for a kennel permit on this?
That's what we were looking into on,
I'm Googling over here.
I would guess they probably would through DATCAP or DSPS, but I don't know. That's the state regulations. I don't.
And this is a permitted use.
Yeah, it would be, well, no, it'd be a conditional use, not a
Yeah,
permitted use.
but it's
Yeah.
permitted as a conditional
In the
use
district,
in
yeah.
our, this is our R1, I would
R1,
assume.
This would be, yes.
Yeah.
Could we postpone this to the next meeting so we can have some of these answers from DATCAP?
We can.
And we can come up with a proposed list of
Right,
conditions.
to have our conditions and everything in line when it comes to it.
would
I just
accept-
don't think
Thank you, Michelle.
we were able
I would
to.
accept that motion. So is that your motion?
Yes.
Postpone to our next meeting?
I
Is there
will
a second?
that.
Okay, sounds good. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Chair, may I make one comment?
Yep.
I guess if you're going to do some more investigating, what are the consequences of denial? Complete denial.
We kind of get.
I'm not asking for an answer, but that's something to
You
think
want
about.
us to take a look into that? Okay, certainly.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
And I'm sorry, who was the second? Was
I
it
did.
Jeff? Okay.
Jeff. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor on the motion to postpone to our next meeting? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no?
Before you move on, do you want to give direction to Evan or whomever may need, what are you looking for besides, and just DATCAP, which we don't regulate, right? So we can tell
Right,
you.
so
what
it's
it
whatever they
means.
tell it, like whatever they have. And so DATCAP rules and regulations for, providing a doggy daycare, just clarification on what they're actually expecting. If they're,
I'll follow up with the owner to get this.
right,
more
to have it more specifics.
And just a reminder, it's not our job to regulate that. It's just we would be allowing a permit for them to seek the idea of doing this, and then they would have to meet all regulations.
Right, they have to get all of our conditions then.
We're not to determine whether or not they can meet those regulations.
No.
Okay.
I just want to know what regulations to actually give. This
And
is special.
Well, we're not giving any, we're just.
Well, but in the
we're under-
conditional use, like we did with the gravel pit?
Yeah, you can give conditions, but you're not to determine whether or not they meet DAC cap standards.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So what I've gathered, what you're looking for is a potential list of conditions. If the committee goes the avenue of outright denial, what the repercussions could be, or what the legal ability of this committee to deny would be.
And do we have any, they're asking for a conditional use permit, but why are they asking us?
Because this would be a conditional use within that zoning district.
Okay, so right now it's not allowed. We have ordinances that do not allow it.
It's not a permitted use within that district. It's a conditional use within that district, similar to a short-term rental or a bar restaurant. If they propose to put a bar restaurant here, they would require a conditional use permit to operate that business. Most of the time, within the zoning ordinance, there's permitted uses that you can do if you just get a simple permit for that doesn't have to come to this committee. There's accessory uses that are accessory to the permitted use, and then there's conditional uses which are allowed with the conditional use permit that comes to this committee. So that's, I guess, does that explain that? Kind of. Okay.
Yeah, and what Michelle's asking, we've done so many conditional use permits or for short-term rentals. We know the rules and the regulations that we have to comply with. We've not done this one. So we're looking for that kind of input on what
Yep.
restrictions there are.
We had one, there was one on Tower Road.
Tower Road had one.
Yeah,
that one,
maybe.
Yeah.
Not while I've been here.
No,
And
that
then
was within the past,
Blue Moon.
I would
too.
say 5 years, but within the past 12 years, I guess. I don't remember.
Different environment there with the Tower
Correct.
Road and
Oh, yeah, there
space
was one on-
between properties, and it was a whole different ballgame. That's barking something or other or something.
There was one at the end of Jenny Lane. There was one in a similar neighborhood in the town of Spirit, and that was probably, again, within the past
Decade.
15 years. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. It was since I was here, but I don't know exact.
Are you
date on it,
looking?
But I remember it vaguely.
So when I was working with, we were considering we didn't have a facility to keep animals that the humane officer was dealing with. So we looked at what it would take to house and have a certified space, which would fall under this DAT cap issue with kennels. And so there is a whole statute saying like you have to have heated, certain level heat, you have to have cement floors, you have to have certain size of kennels. Is that what you're looking for? Because it's statutorily, again, we won't regulate that because that's the DAT cap side of it. Or are you saying, are you asking, are they falling outside of that regulation? So they're like, if they go to 6 animals, it becomes a kennel versus 5.
Right, what's the cap, the number of animals and all of it?
I'll do some digging.
Like,
More of an educational opportunity, because again, I don't know what those rules are.
Sure.
And,
Yeah. I'll do some digging on that, and I'll look
Okay.
at that one. It was on Park Drive in the town of Spirit, and it was probably, within 10 years ago. It was a very, very similar use from what I remember.
Okay, let's move on. Okay, item 11 has to do with the conditional use permit filed by Janik and Sons, and we'll reopen the discussion on that. We had some work on conditions that has happened since our last meeting, I believe.
Yeah, I passed.
You want to
out.
go through the additional things that we have, and then we need to get into the landfill thing.
So we had the list of conditions that was given out at the last meeting and the committee voted on. Would you like me to read them all or kind of to point out any minor changes that
I would, well, it's up to the committee. I mean, if you got the sheet with
the
the
committee's got
conditions
the
on,
sheet in front of
I'd
you?
like to see the changes. I'd like to. hear
just
what-
do the changes.
Okay,
Okay,
does Meredith need one?
that's fine with me.
Let me make sure this is the same. Yes. No, you can have it. Okay, if you look at number Number 7, the original one had read that pull up the original one prior to the change. An unexcavated vegetative buffer of 100 feet shall be established from the edge of the existing town road with the exception of one access road, a maximum of 60 feet in width. Slightly changed to read an existing or an unexcavated vegetative buffer of 100 feet shall be established from the edge of the existing town road with the exception of one access road, a maximum of 50 feet in width. So it went from 60 to 50. We understand that road isn't going to be 50 feet wide. However, the access portion within the viewing corridor or the buffer would need to be 50 feet in width, and that's mostly for safety reasons. So trucks going in and out can see without an obstructed view, and also so trucks or any equipment turning in wouldn't need to swing out into the oncoming traffic to make the turn in. And the second sentence that was added to that is this vegetative buffer shall be planted with a minimum of 3 rows of coniferous trees by the date of September 1st, 2027. So while the proposed pit is going to be back in the woods for now, there could potentially be a time where they move forward and it would be visible from the road. That's why the date of planting those trees is established, so they have time to grow before the pit would move or be visible.
Before you go on to the next one, so these came forward, or these changes came forward because we discussed with whether a citizen brought an email forward or a board member brought comments forward to us. Before we move on from that one, when we talked about the vegetative buffer and the timeline and the amount, Evan and I discussed it to come up with 3 and the date. What is the wish? Like, do you want to review that at this time, or do you want to wait till you get through all 3? There was 3 changes or one more.
Whichever you want.
It's up to you. I just don't want to forget that we have to go back and you guys need to determine if 3 is right.
Approve this, yeah. we haven't
Right.
got-
Well, right. You'll prove it as a whole, but was 3 the right number? Is 5 the right number? Is 1 row the right number? It wasn't up to Evan and I. It's up to you as a committee.
Would go back to 100.
Yeah, okay, I understand
So
what
it'd
you're
have to
saying.
be
I'm not a
between 33 and 100.
tree person. I don't know if that's gonna do it or not. Now, it depends on the kind of trees they put in. You know, there's some that
We
are
wouldn't put 'em-
fuller.
they-
and
they wouldn't be
create a
planted
better
in the right
buffer,
way.
And I would assume that's what we're doing. I don't know why we're waiting. Why are we waiting till 27 to do this? Why wouldn't we do it sooner?
Well, originally, so Mr. Kopesh, I talked to Nick about this because again, when we were reading the original conditional use, there was no time frame established on when that to be completed by. So if they're starting the gravel pit in the backside of the land, that maybe wouldn't need to be established as soon, and I don't want it to be forgotten that this is part of the conditional use permit. So that's why I put a time-bound stipulation on it, so that gets established in a reasonable amount of time before you get to mining that section of the land, if it's permitted.
And there was also the intention to strip half the top, strip half the topsoil off the field. That would give the field time to revegetate and then plant the.
So the 27 is a reasonable date instead of having it sooner? Is that what you're saying?
I said 24 months, so again, if you're thinking, planting.
Well, the
and
sooner it gets in, the sooner it starts growing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
I was just thinking if 24 months was maybe reasonable, given that we're already going to be in July of 26, sorry.
Well, and the trees typically
This
are
would be
planted
about
in the
14
spring
months.
to get
Yeah,
your
this
best.
Right.
Which that's.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I get, to go back to it, when we're discussing all this, there was some very nice computer drafted pictures of what that would look like. Just want to make sure that we're establishing that look and feel if we're going to do this so that the residents have that versus it being 10 years down the road, we're finally getting to the field. Where's the buffer?
I agree. Yeah, okay. Keep going.
Well, is the 3 rows, is that sufficient? Would you, or?
Again,
Well, at this point, they'd be small, but
They'd be seedlings.
Yes, just established trees. The reason we Right. We, when Evan and I were talking about this, the original was there should be trees there. Well, is that 2 trees, 5 trees? So when we came up with language, it was, we started with a minimum, it could be any minimum. It could be a minimum of 1 row. It could be a minimum. We chose 3 just so you can kind of overlap. Again, that's up to you as a committee, but that's how we determined it is we knew we had to put a minimum because otherwise you could just say there's 2 trees on that whole thing. So
Correct.
I think that's a good number, minimum of 3 rows.
Yes, 3 rows staggered. I mean, because you're not going to have everything live.
And maybe do more. I mean,
Exactly.
I don't, they're not, they're, yeah.
that way we have something to enforce if there's a question.
My understanding is they were intending to plant spruce. I don't know, you could plant spruce, red pine, white pine. It wouldn't matter. I mean, if you, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good. And then you got something back?
And then, yeah, the other one is based on the DNR email correspondence that I had passed out to you, deals with the solid waste disposal site, which I can go through that email as well if you'd like. The number 16, it states the existing solid waste disposal site shall be marked with some form of permanent markers with signs to determine or to deter encroachment. All DNR administrative rules shall be adhered to regarding the existing solid waste disposal sites. And that came from my conversation with Nathan Collar with the DNR. In the first email, I'll just go through a few of the highlights that I had picked up with my correspondence with him. In the first email, he had stated the property owner where the landfill is located is responsible for maintaining the landfill. Wisconsin statute states that any person having or acquiring rights of ownership in land where a solid or hazardous waste disposal facility was previously operated may not undertake any activities on the land which interfere with the closed facility, causing a significant threat to public health, safety, or welfare. After reading that sentence, I followed up with him and stated and asked the question, would the department view a gravel pit near the landfill site as interfering with the closed facility? That was the main question I wanted to answer based on that. And his response is there have been instances of gravel pits near landfills. I think in many cases it doesn't become an issue. However, in one case I'm familiar with, the excavation got close to the landfill and the side slope sloughed off, exposing the waste. As a result, this became a potential threat to human health and the environment, so they were required to restore the original conditions of the landfill and document it all. For any excavation occurring near the landfill, I would recommend that the edge of the waste be identified physically, such as with T-posts and signage, so the mine operator is aware. Additionally, a barrier such as boulders could be put in place at some distance away, for example, to further deter encroachment. And then I also would ask the question, if it's possible to require the owners to remove the disposed material and clean up the site before opening the pit, is this something that is feasible, and what would the DNR require to go that route? And he responded, to exhume the waste would require department prior approval. We would need to see a detailed plan for this, including waste characterization, waste handling plan, timeframe, engineer sign off, soil testing beneath the waste are some things that come to mind. The waste would likely need to be disposed of in a licensed landfill. So, so that's where condition number 16 came from. It was the recommendation to mark the disposal sites as to deter encroachment on them.
Would the DNR be part of that process?
Of marking the sites?
Yeah.
I don't believe so. No, I don't think
That would be up to-
you're not going
up
to
to-
get them to come out
That would be up to you to do?
and the applicant.
And the
as
applicant.
well, to go out and locate the barriers or the perimeter of the disposal site and place some form of.
From 1993.
And 1988, there's 2 sites.
So there's 2 different sites.
There's one on this property and one on the adjacent property, from my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, one is 200 feet to the north of the other one.
So none of that was recorded on any deeds that this was an existing.
Not that I was aware of.
I don't know.
And myself as the purchaser, I would be extremely disenchanted with that.
Yeah, I don't know how this was conducted. I mean, if you go through real estate, there's a requirement for disclosure too.
Correct.
And I don't know what process they used. And it has been, I asked if this transaction has gone through, and it has gone through, so it's changed hands. I was wondering maybe if
The real
Janet was
property
waiting
list-
until to see what
Yeah.
happened here before
The
they.
real property lister has all.
But
the
they haven't,
document.
yeah.
Okay.
One other thing I came up with, and it shouldn't be an issue, but as I looked through their application, they were looking at a 5 o'clock PM. We gave them 6.
Yeah, that's up to the committee if you want to. Oh, we had talked about that at the last meeting.
Did
as
we?
well.
I don't recall talking about that 5 o'clock, did we? So we still want to give them 6, or you want to go down to 5 from what they requested in the permit?
That's up to the committee. I know we had.
I don't know.
Last time.
If they're happy with 5, I would do 5.
Well, I'm just thinking when the crusher's there, they want to work 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with the 6.
Okay, but that's what they asked for in the permit. I didn't realize to see that the first
Mhm.
time. 6 to 5.
I,
Okay.
I do have another question here, on these conditions. If we have emergency washout, let's say the county, and they need gravel out of that pit, what is the process to do this on a Sunday? What does this limit to?
There's a lot of gravel pits, not just that.
Well, if that's where the gravel is,
Who are you
that's where the
asking-
washout
who are
is,
you asking the question of?
to this committee.
Okay.
So
Or
I don't know on an emergency situation. I can't answer. I would guess from a practical standpoint, if the county had a washout and the county needed material, they're going to go to the pit half a mile up the road.
Because the county has a pit just down the road, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 3/4 of a mile. I don't know. It's just down the road, and so from a county standpoint, if we need material, we're going to take it out of our pit.
We would have to not have anything crushed, anything available. It would be a lot
very
of, a lot of
highly
what ifs.
Unlikely situation. The town has material in the pit just up the road in Carnish's pit. They've got a stockpile, but I don't know what. I mean, I would guess if there's a huge flood in an emergency situation where it was life or limb, like, and you needed gravel, I don't think these conditions are going to be something that are going to get the permit revoked on a life or limb situation.
Right.
But
So the process
don't
I would
know.
see happening would be
reasonable.
emergency happened, most likely in that level. There's a state of emergency called. That's a whole nother process. If someone were to come forward and say, hey, they were working in there on a Sunday to remove emergency materials, this committee would have to review it against their permit and make that determination to decide they worked outside their permit. Was it justified or not justified to revoke? You could say, nope, it was justified based on the state of emergency, based on what do you call it, life and limb. So it could go through the process if there was a complaint, but that would be then the committee to determine whether or not it's revocable.
Yeah, it'd be highly unlikely.
And just for my knowledge and understanding, if, let's say one of these 16 items were being violated, it gets first reported to Evan?
It would come, yeah, any violations would get reported to me with these conditions, document them. At that point, they'd come to it'd be the committee's responsibility to revoke a conditional use permit based on the violation of conditions.
And just to clarify, it's not necessarily Evan. The situation would be something happened, individual would report to the zoning office. So not that Evan's not here. Yeah. So just to clarify,
I should say, to his
zoning
department,
right?
not
So
to
a zoning
Evan
office would receive it. The zoning office then would send a corrective letter. Hey, we've been made aware of the situation. You have 10 days, 30 days, 2 minutes to correct the action. Failure to correct would then come to this committee. So he has like the first line of
remediation.
Yeah, it's not truck was driving at 5:30, came out of there, bring it to this committee and remove it. There's a process. So the process would be individual would report it to the zoning department. Zoning would then document and potentially send a letter based on findings of corrective action. If failure to correct, that's when it comes for
We've-
consideration.
We've had a few situations since I've been here where the committee's held hearings to revoke conditional use permits. One of them was the Durand site on Highway 13.
Power Avenue. The
There
fence.
was, yeah, the fence issue on the junkyard on Tower Avenue, there, Tower Street or whatever, in the town of Lake.
Repair shop.
Yeah, whatever it
Yeah,
was.
there was a
And then-
repair shop that lost their permit up on Tower because they failed to comply with a barrier between neighbor.
And then there was a conditional use permit for a short-term rental out on Sioux Lake that didn't adhere to the conditions. Crazy Stitch. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Michelle.
The other pits in the area, do they have a time limit as well to where if there's any other trucks hauling down the road that it wouldn't be perceived that it would be Janix hauling?
Not that I'm aware of. Well, the Carnish and Dulaski pit were existing pits prior to 2001. The County pit, that one recently had a conditional use permit, but I don't think that one had any hours of, I'd have to look. But I know the Dulaski and Carnish pit were existence prior to 2001. The
Well, right, as
county
far as
one-
county goes, I mean, they're pretty clearly marked. So I would hope, but I'm just saying if,
The Dulaski or Carnish pit do not have hours of operation. Pitlick and Wick does not either, or Northern Lakes Concrete, whichever one that is. That
A truck on the, East Solberg Road?
On East Solberg
Would
Road.
not, it would be coming out or,
it'd have to be coming out of this pit or
Yeah.
coming out. Yeah, it wouldn't.
but that's where the zoning department would receive a complaint to be looked into.
We should discuss the letter that we got. Yeah, because we got a letter sent to us on another situation having to do with a tower in a different location, town of Cedarburg. And you should have a copy of that. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, everybody should.
You could have this. Nick would have handed it out today.
Oh, this one. Well, Riley. It basically addresses conditional use permits in general.
And I guess it's a similar situation just because it's a use that's going into what's looked at as a residential area, although per our ordinance, this is a ag, I think it's zoned ag. And in ag, this is a permitted use,
Conditional use.
conditional use. And the bottom back, last line of this letter says the proposed CUP is incompatible with the land use policies of the county. That wouldn't be correct according to what our zoning is. So it's not quite, I don't know what the town of Cedarburg had for zoning ordinances, but apparently they had something that this rejecting it was okay. So again, we're still dealing with Act 667, looking at whether we can reject as long as the conditions that we place on it are agreed to and they're adhered to. And we're looking for the substantial evidence that, we talked at this whole landfill issue, and that doesn't appear to be an issue as far as the DNR is concerned, as long as we don't invade that space. I'm not sure what else there is to look at. Unless the committee's got some feeling on it. There is one thing in the letter that surprised me, and because we're county elected officials, that we're now experts. And I thought that was kind of an interesting comment. You each are experts on legislative matters by being elected officials, which people know you just have to be 18, can't be a felon, and you got to live in the county. I don't know how we got to be experts, but I guess we should appreciate the compliment.
I don't think
I
it
don't
says
consider
that,
myself
Mr.
an
Kopish.
expert. I think we're all learning in this process. Yeah.
I don't think it says it. The way I read it, the law does not require a county board or its designated committee to have expert opinion to support a common sense determination.
No, but you see that last
Right
sentence of
above
the
it.
second paragraph? The second last paragraph, you are each experts by being elected officials. You didn't know that, did you? No. Anyway, this is a very difficult issue. So what are we going to do? What's your thinking on it?
Do we need to approve these conditions first?
We'll have to approve the conditions, yeah. If you want to go with that route, get that done? Okay, why don't you make a motion
I'll make a motion to approve these conditions.
as amended?
As amended.
Yeah. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Okay, no.
No. No.
No? Okay. Now we're back to the original question. This is not a win-win.
No.
There's no way,
There's
no
gonna be
matter what
loser.
we do, somebody's not happy.
Mhm.
And depending on which way it goes and what group is not happy, they have recourse, whether it goes to the Board of Adjustment or whether it goes to a court or whatever it is. And I suspect that no matter what we do, it's going to happen. So I don't know. So some other body is going to make a final determination on whatever we do. So it's a matter of what we do here and moving it on to the next step.
Mhm.
Well, I think as this committee, I don't see a reason that we can deny it. So I think at this point, I am gonna make a motion to approve it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Mr. Albert?
I really think, you're right. There's nobody not everybody's gonna be happy with this. Like Doug said, as far as our latitude of what we can and cannot do, I think we really have tried to do our due diligence to understand everything. I mean, the finding out and researching the landfill, I mean, that was unknown, I think, any of us. I live next door to a gravel pit, and if I put these conditions on that individual, he would laugh at me. So I think if, we trying to be fair and reasonable to everybody. Again, I'm hoping that at the end of the day, if it does become reality, that we see that it's not as intrusive as suspected, and that everybody follows the rules and regulations, what we got set.
Everybody, yeah, becomes good neighbors.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
Do you want in that motion with the list of 16 conditions?
Well, we approved the list of conditions as we amended it here today.
I approved that motion, but do you also want that in the motion to approve the entire thing with the list of 16 conditions? Or is that
I'm not sure what you're saying. What are you saying? What are we including it with?
motion to approve the conditional use permit followed by Janik and Sons for the gravel pit with the list of 16
Oh,
conditions?
the motion that Doug made.
Second.
Yes.
Oh, so do you want to add?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's-
okay.
Okay, I added that with,
Are you okay with that? So first and second, okay. All right. I was off somewhere else.
No.
Anybody else? Okay, let's vote on the motion. Take a roll call, please.
okay, Jennifer Baratka,
No.
Michelle Drobnik,
Yes.
Doug Erickson,
Yes.
Robert Kopish.
Yes.
Jeff Ulrich.
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
and that the motion does pass 4 yes, 1 no.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we have the reclamation plan filed by Janik and Sons for the gravel pit. And is that plan all up to snuff?
Yeah,
It has everything in it, needs to have in it. There's anything we need to deal with?
yeah, no, we've got everything we need in it. Basically the end use, it's proposing the side slopes, vegetative. we don't have any issues.
Okay, so this is okay to approve. Okay, is there a motion to approve the reclamation plan as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Michelle, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Elbrick, any discussion on the reclamation plan? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
Okay, and we have a land division on behalf of, from Albert, filed by Albert Simpson on behalf of the Prohaska Family Property Trust to create one lot in the town of Elk.
Sorry, I just get this stuff moved to the side so it doesn't get mixed in with everything.
Bob, could we just have like 2 minutes?
Oh, yeah, if you want to take a
Please.
quick break. Yeah, okay, we
Thank-
can do that. We'll just leave this one hang. Yeah, land division, by Prohaska Family Property Trust.
So this, we got a
Everything-
land division, the CSM should be in the packet. It shows like a 1.01 acre lot around an existing garage. It's out off of South Sioux Lake Road in the town of Elk. It meets all the requirements. It's got to be over an acre. The existing parcel that they're dividing the 1 acre off of is 23.7 acres. And they're breaking a 1 acre chunk off of that. I don't have any issues at all.
Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second?
That was me.
Oh, you made the
I didn't.
Oh,
She
I
did.
did. Oh,
She's gonna second.
okay, Michelle.
second it.
Michelle did it first. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, you got a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Okay, land division by Albert Simpson on behalf of Gerald Plotchik to create one lot in the town of Elk.
Very similar request, to create a 1 acre lot basically in the town of Elk right off County Road W. Slightly over an acre, it's 209.3 by 209.3. An acre is about 208 by 208. But there's no issues at all here. You've got the CSM map.
Okay,
Got plenty of frontage on the town road, or on the county road, I should say. And it's square.
all right, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, department reports.
There was a copy of the permit report that went out in the packet through May. We've been quite a bit busier than we were last year at this time. Besides, with general permits, besides some of the other issues we've got going on. Yeah, that's all I've got. Nothing outstanding.
Questions for Evan?
No, thank you for the level of detail. It's nice to see the activity.
Nothing. We're doing this portion of the meeting.
Your mic?
Mike.
Oh,
Yeah, Mike, talk to
Mike,
Mike.
cool.
There you go.
I don't know Mike down here.
Mike's not in the building.
Mine?
Yeah.
It might be.
All right, sorry about that. Land conservation, we'll call that to order. Public comment, nobody here. Communications, anybody? Okay, land and water resource management plan. So I would assume by now that Jeff and Jennifer, you've had a chance to go through that whole thing and highlight where you have questions and concerns and, right? Online, you can see it online, the land, you don't even know what I'm
Are
talking
you
about.
joking?
No, I'm not joking. This is a test.
It's a multi-page document, Bob. Yes, I started, but I'm not finished. So
You get
Next
about
month,
5 minutes and you
how
fall
about-
asleep? Yeah.
maybe we can review that
Well,
at our next meeting.
The only thing is
Yeah.
just to be aware that there is one and the kind of things that are in it. Basically, that's what it is.
I do want an opportunity to review it, but
Yeah.
we've had few other things on our.
That's
plate.
okay.
Right.
Mhm.
All right. So Evan, you don't have anything you want to talk about with that?
I don't have anything with
Okay.
the land and water resource management plan. I do have booklets that I got from Land and Water that I'm gonna pass out to this committee. I've just gotta, they're on my desk right now. I didn't grab them with all the rest of the stuff. I'll put them in your boxes.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Okay, anything as far as the department report?
I don't have anything, nothing outstanding. I mean, I've been mostly working on zoning stuff the past month, of course. Jason's been working on projects. He's got a handful of signups left for the year for land and water resource management projects. But otherwise, nothing.
Nothing
out of the
significant,
ordinary.
nothing significant?
No,
No?
no
Okay.
major issues.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Why is the Land and Water Resource Management Plan overview on the agenda? I just want everybody to know why it's there. Is this something we review every year in case there's any changes?
No, it's because of the new members on the
The
committee.
new members,
That way
I just
the-
wanted them to
Okay.
be
That
familiar
way
with
they're-
it.
Okay. I
That's
guess
all.
if you said that, I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's what it was for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so they know where to find the land and water resource management plan. And if anybody listening wants to look through it, it is available on the county's
It's on our
website.
county website.
So that way they can kind of get familiar with it. And it's a plan that's required for us to get our state funding.
When we had that issue with those guys that wanted to buy that property and turn it into conservation easement, wasn't that something that got
It was
referred
something that
back to
was-
this plan?
It was
Yeah.
referred to this plan. This plan, the plan does refer to keeping large contiguous chunks of
Yeah.
land together as a, good measure towards land conservation. And that's what they referred to
Yeah.
when they talked about it.
That's what I thought, yeah, okay. So once in a while, we deal with stuff that is contained in that
Yeah.
line, that plan, so it's good to know what's in there. All right, we'll adjourn that part of the meeting. And then miscellaneous, we got our minutes from our last two meetings. There's a motion to approve them separately or together,
I'll make a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
okay? Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Ulrich, any discussion on the minutes? Any editing? Anything we need to do?
They were quite good job
Okay.
to the clerk for
All right.
keeping track of them. There
Okay.
was a lot of
There,
information there.
there being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Committee vouchers, have they gone around?
They sure did.
Everybody signed?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve those two.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved, and the next meeting date is July 23rd. I assume that's a Thursday.
Yeah.
And then the next month, are we doing August?
I vote, well, I vote.
That's August 20th.
August
Yeah, I
20th?
vote really no.
Is that fair, Tom?
That is, yes.
What?
That's the fair, Bob. You need to come out and, because that's
Oh,
community
I
day.
always go to the fair.
You're saying too.
You know I
do.
go to the fair.
You sure do.
Yeah. And is the fair on a Thursday?
Yeah.
I thought they shortened it.
We always have Thursday. We
Okay.
just don't have Sunday.
Oh, we quit Sunday. Okay, okay.
I do.
She's not here. President of the fair, right?
Vice.
Well, because I guess is there any issues with holding the
No.
application for this conditional use permit for the dog until
That'll
August?
be in
then?
July.
That's July.
That'd
We
be
still
July.
have July.
So are you motioning to hold it till
Oh,
August?
No. I thought you were holding the July one. I'm sorry.
No,
She's mad about the
August. I'm not
You're mad
mad.
about the August.
I'm
one.
just
Got-
telling you.
Never mind.
Is that a
August.
motion to hold it until August?
No, it was not. No,
I'm passionate. Yes.
I thought Ms. Dropnik
I
wanted
like it
to.
when there's nobody here.
I thought Ms. Dropnik didn't want to have the July meeting. I'm
No,
sorry.
August.
August. Thank you.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got August as a second date, and with that being done, meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for your
Do we need the September date in there?
perseverance.